Well, howdy friends, Brian Flechsig of Mad River Outfitters and the Midwest Fly Fishing Schools, and welcome back to another episode in our series on fly casting. And today I wanted to kind of backtrack and talk about two very important yet underrated and under-taught aspects of the fly cast. So the first and foremost is when you start a fly cast, you must start with the rod tip below your belt. And in fact, when you're practicing, and you're practicing in your backyard or in a field, whatever, put your rod tip on the ground to start. When you're fishing, you should put your rod tip in the water, maybe even an inch under the water. Okay? You know, it was many years ago in the mid 90s, maybe early 90s, I was a young budding fly casting instructor, and I got to spend a weekend with Lefty Cray. It was the first time I ever hung out with him. And I asked him, I said, Lefty, what's the number one mistake that beginning fly casters are gonna make? What do I need to look for first and foremost? And he said, Brian, he said, watch. He said, every single person you ever work with, it is their intuition to start with the rod here. And if you start with the rod here, you're halfway through the cast. You're literally making half of a cast. You're here, you're almost at the stopping point, which is here anyways. So you've got to start, you go ahead and make a whole fly cast. Start with the rod tip low, get it moving, rod tip travels in a straight line up to about that 1 o'clock position and stops, okay? So critical, and Lefty was right. Everybody does this. When I teach, I hear from people all the time, and they say, oh yeah, rod tip on the ground. If they stop thinking about it, they're gonna wander up to here. And if you do this, you've got almost a right angle and another right angle. You've got to get the end of the line and the fly moving before you can cast. You're not gonna even get it moving until you get to that 12 o'clock position. Start with the rod tip low, put it in the water if you're fishing. Next tip is to put your thumb at the end of the cork grip. So many times when I'm fishing or teaching a casting class, you see people with their thumbs back here, and look around on YouTube. You're gonna see everybody with a thumb way back here on this grip, okay? And in fact, I had one guy recently, he said, well, I hold it back there because I think it makes the lever longer. Well, it does make the lever longer, but just like choking up on a baseball bat, remember in Little League baseball or softball, they told you you had a fast pitcher to choke up on the bat? Well, if you choke up on the fly rod, and you put and that's why I love this rod so much. It's got this really super wells at the end and just a great thumb place on the end of the cork grip. And I just get such great push on the tip. Just like I'm pushing the button on a screen door, this grip just works perfectly. So put your thumb at the end of the cork grip. You're gonna get higher tip speed. You're gonna have greater control of where the tip goes. Your thumb tells the tip where to go. It's not gonna do anything unless your thumb tells it to go there. And this allows you to keep that rod tip traveling more in a straight line and thus getting better loops. So move your thumb to the end of that cork grip, and I promise you it's gonna make a big difference in your fly casting. So just two simple tips. We've told you this before, but thought we'd reiterate it again here. And start with your rod tip low, move your thumb to the end of the cork grip, and you're gonna be a better fly caster just by doing those two things, I promise. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, that really helps us out, and check out madriveroutfitters.com. And thanks for watching, we appreciate you being here. We have a bunch of new t-shirts. Pick up one of these banging Mad River Outfitters t-shirts.